After a spectacular first race at Brands Hatch last week, we now arrive at Suzuka. It's a considerably lengthy circuit, impressively long straights separated by very technical and challenging corner sections. Beginning on the home straight, drivers will reach 150 miles per hour or 240 kph in the Group 4 cars. The first corner is unforgiving. Carry in too much speed and you'll be off the track and scrambling to recover. And now we're into the S's. A series of medium speed turns, and there's a certain rhythm to it, braking at each apex to maintain the right speed and balance for the following change in direction. Left easing smoothly into right. It's important not to go all the way to the outside here, as you'd be looking for the best possible line into the following long left-hander Dunlop curve. Dunlop, a long, steady, uphill turn. It levels off just before we reach the deceptively fast Daimler curve. Drop 2 gears and ride the curbs, straightening out just in time for another right-hander, an almost 90-degree corner that takes us under the bridge, the part of the circuit that crosses itself. This is one of the few great opportunities for overtaking, the following right-hander kink taking us to the hairpin. Hard braking, and easy on the throttle on the way out. Racing away from the hairpin and into the long, gentle curve of 200R, it's another opportunity to overtake. But the track here is also narrow enough to make blocking fairly easy. A gentle, efficient move to the right, and then it's hard braking for the entry to the spoon curve. A deceptively tricky double left, committing to the corner exit too early is almost certain to put you in the gravel. Plummeting down the hill that takes us to the back straight, and then up again, drivers will be entirely preoccupied with the infamous 130R, the absurdly fast left-hander which follows immediately after the crossover bridge. It's aerodynamic grip that really makes the difference here. We now ease over to the left side of the track and watch for the 100-metre board for the braking point. Down to first gear for the Casio triangle. A quick burst of acceleration and then a sharp left. We pull away down the hill to approach the 15th and final curve. And now, coming back up to speed, we finish a lap of the Suzuka circuit. We jump right into qualifying with Wyatt starting his first flying lap now. He's the first out of the pits, and it really looks like he's already pushing the car right on the first flying lap. He did an excellent job in the previous races qualifying, setting the fastest lap right at the beginning and then managing to beat his own time right at the end of the session again. Now there's Olaf coming out afterwards. He's he looks like he's taking quite a conservative line, not pushing too hard in his first stint. And there is 5. He's going right onto the edge of the curb there. He's really pushing right from the start. Here's Delinquent. Yes, he's taking quite a deep line into that corner there. Now it looks like there's an overtake happening. It's 5. He's going after Olaf. They're both on a flying lap, and it looks like there's been some contact there. That's not too serious, but it's probably unnecessary. But it just goes to show how desperate 5 is to claim pole after Wyatt here managed to put in a spectacular performance in the previous qualifying session. Now that's a 2-minute 8.852, not a bad time at all. I believe there is room for improvement. Now here's 5. He's going out to the finish line. What's his first hot lap going to be? 208.746. Manages to beat Wyatt. Excellent job there. And it seems that Olaf is quite close behind, but certainly not near enough to get anything. Now that's what we see here, the two Jags of Delinquent, and behind it's not double apex this time. He's being subbed by Richard in the number 55 Jaguar as opposed to 93. Now then, this is Lamborghini subbing for KRD. Now let's see what kind of performance he can put in. Now in practice he was sliding around the track a little bit, getting used to the car. We'll have to see what kind of performance he can put in. Now it seems that Wyatt has crossed the line and put in another excellent flying lap, 207.034. It's going to take a lot of beating. There's 5. It's a red number for the time, an invalid time, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's his best lap time, but it was not a valid time. He must have taken a shortcut or something along those lines. Here's Wyatt again, clipping the curb there. Now, is this going to be an in-lap, or... Yes, it's a little bit slower. It's almost half a second slower than his previous lap. He may make this an in-lap. Now then, this is 5 again, going round Degner 1, Degner 2, and off into the gravel. He was going quite well there, but it looks like that time for him is over. And here, at the end of qualifying, it was Wyatt having one last chance at the lap, but it didn't manage to do quite so good a job, and bottles it, goes into the pits. And that was all for qualifying. Those were the highlights. Let's have a look at the grid. So, here is how they qualified. Wyatt in first and Fives second. Not much time between them. And in third place qualified Chugi Jr. with Richard subbing for Double Apex, qualifying 4th, not bad at all. No Sleep in Tokyo qualified 5th, and Olaf 6th. Then in 7th is Delinquent, whom we saw earlier in qualifying, and Kaladin in 8th, a little better than his previous qualifying place. Now here's Dunker subbing for Ladinator, that's right, in the number 23 car, and Lamborghini also subbing. And here are the drivers that did not qualify and will not be taking part in the race, unfortunately. Now, here we are. The race itself, formation laps still going on at the moment. There's the pace car, ahead of Wyatt in the lead, coming up to the end of the lap, and the pace car is slowing down quite a bit to bring the pack together. They all weave around to warm the tyres a little bit just before the off. Now they come round the normally very fast bend over the bridge. And there we see it's quite a varied pack, a lot of colours here on display. Now they're all coming up to the final chicane, the Casio Triangle, and the pace car will now be heading into the pits, and he has done, and so the race will begin very, very soon. As they try to get up as much distance between themselves as possible, and they're off. It's go, go, go. Here they are, all rushing to be as far before they break as possible, unless they run into someone in front, in which case there could be some terrible disaster. But let's see. Well, it's Chugi. Chugi's gone off. He's skidded right off there and crashed into Kaladin on the way back onto the track. That's really going to be disappointing for him after he also had his fair share of, more than his fair share of spins in Brands Hatch. Now here. In the midfield, the third place, it's Tokyo and Olaf. Tokyo is fending off Richard. I believe he's managed to gain a place on Richard during that first little melee. Here is Wyatt. He's managed to build up a pretty good lead already. And Five as he's gone onto the gravel and again. At Dana 1 and 2, he went off on the gravel and has lost positions. He's lost 2 positions, one to Richard and also to Tokyo. And Chugi, of course, having started third, is at the back. We can't even see him here. He's in 8th position. Now, here we are. Here's Chugi actually. He's trying to catch up. Yes, he can just about see the cars in front of him. Now there's a Dodge. It's gone off. It's the Canadian. That means it must be Lamborghini, who's subbing for KRD as previously mentioned. And he really had been sliding about all the way through practice, and it seems that perhaps the Dodge is a little bit of a challenge. Now then, we are riding on board with Richard. And now with Chugi catching up to the rest of the pack. It seems as though Richard has got a pretty good shot of taking 5. Now, there's Chugi's gone off wide again, and crashes. He's crashed into the barrier. It looks like a retirement, to be perfectly honest. It seems that Chugi is no longer in this race, which is most unfortunate. But now, we're back to the race leader, his teammate, Riot, who won the previous race at Brands Hatch, and it seems if he can keep this pace up, he may well win this race as well. Now, there's Fives, his championship rival, I suppose you could say, for the moment, having come second in the previous race. And he's chasing Tokyo, looking for any sign of weakness to exploit in order to get past him. Now, all these 3 cars, second, third and fourth, racing past. A little bit further behind, there's Kaladin, followed closely by Olaf. We'll probably see quite a fight between those two. And here, bringing up the rear, it's Dunkirk, followed closely by Lamborghini. Sorry, not Lamborghini, but Lamborghini. Now, there are the fellows in second and third. Richard fallen off a little bit. He's lost a little bit of time, but it seems he has been setting the best first sector. It must have been something that happened right at the end of the previous lap. Now, who's gone off? It's Olaf. Olaf has gone off, and he's been overtaken quite quickly by Delinquent. So it seems that corner, Degner 2, has been claiming a couple of the victims already. Now, here, the contestants at the back. It seems that Lamborghini has overtaken Dunker, so Dunker would now be at the back. Now, it looks like a little bit of a mistake, possibly. Whoa, who's that? That's Richard. He's gone off again. He's gone off on the spoon curve. Now, this will all be very good news, of course, for Riot, who's still got a very good lead. There's Richard, and it looks like he's got back on track, and he's some way behind these two battling for safety. He's gone off. It's Tokyo. He's gone wide, too wide there, and it seems that he's got back into the Casio triangle okay, but we'll have to see how they come out onto the start-finish straight. Now here's Delinquent. He tried to make a move on Kaladin, but Kaladin outbroken, just managed to cling onto the course. Here on the home straight, it seems, yes, it indeed seems that Five he's managed to overtake Tokyo. That moment of weakness earlier must have had some kind of knock-on effect. And there's a very, very convincing looking overtake. It's Delinquent on Kaladin. There's Five again, and there's, speaking of Delinquent, he's managed to come out on top of that little melee, and Kaladin somewhere behind, but it seems that Olaf had a little bit of difficulty through that first turn. And there at the back we see Dunker, not so good. He's lagging quite far behind everyone else at the moment. Possibly this reserve driver isn't quite as used to the Mitsubishi Lancer as he might perhaps have been. Now then. Right. Oh, it's someone who's gone off. It's Tokyo. He's gone off, and he's lost quite a lot of time. Now, remember, he was battling with Fives, having just lost the position, but was still in with a good chance. So he'll really be disappointed with himself for that. But will he be able to hang on to third? Will some mistake further ahead cause him to go a position? Now there's Olaf. He's going around, taking a wide line through there, perhaps in order to get the best exit speed he can. And there's Delinquent, Kaladin, Olaf, and Lamborghini all chasing each other very closely, and it's an overtake. It's Lamborghini. He goes through, overtakes Olaf. A very, very convincing pass there. One of the few good opportunities to overtake on the Suzuka circuit, and he exploited it beautifully. Now he's going to go for Kaladin. He's got his slipstream. It's very close, and Kaladin has also got the slipstream off the Jaguar head. Delinquent. They come in. Is it going to be 3 cars wide? No, not quite. Lamborghini struggles to determine where he should put his car, and it's quite jam-packed there. I'd be surprised if there weren't some contact. We go through Casio triangle. It's an overtake. It's a very, very convincing overtake, and over the curbs, fighting the curbs, but he manages it. And now he's after Delinquent. What a stunning drive here from Lamborghini after a very flaky start. And he gets past Delinquent. Manages to squeeze back in just before the turn-in. A sensational bit of driving there from Lamborghini. And at the back is... oh, it's Delinquent. Delinquent has gone off. He's lost control. Back onto the track, but it seems that perhaps that overtake put him off his concentration a little bit there. Now into the S's. Now, meanwhile, at the front, that's right, and he's 2 corners ahead of Fives there, and they themselves are out of sight of Tokyo, who's still trying to make up for that terrible off he had a lap ago. Now, there are a couple of the cars that are in the midfield. Oh, and he's gone off. Kaladin's gone off, and Olaf has taken the position. Really, they're finding it quite difficult to get round Dana 1 and Dana 2 in this particular race. Now, there's Riot again, going through the spoon curve. He's put in solid lap after solid lap. It's really quite a convincing drive from Riot today, and he may well go on to win this race. Now, here is Lamborghini. Excellent drive, has put him into 4th. Now here's Riot again. It looks like another excellent lap. He's been putting in a couple of 209.6s, and I think for the time being we're going to go to a break. See you shortly.
Honor of duty, only on DreamCube 360.
We're back. It's the Nitroglycerin Sunday Cup Round 2 Suzuka, and the race is more or less as it has been previously, with Riot in the lead, followed by Fives, followed by Tokyo, all some distance away from each other. Tokyo is doing his best to catch up, but it seems that Lamborghini is doing a very good job of catching up with him. Will Lamborghini manage to claim 3rd place? Olaf is here in 5th. It seems that he's taking quite conservative lines. It did have an early off, but it looks like he's... now, here's a pit stop. It's Riot, he's coming in. There's his pit crew getting ready, and he's been overtaken by now, of course, by Fives, who's claims the lead. Now, it seems that Riot has been going with medium tyres, so pitting on at the end of lap 6, it's likely that we're looking at a 2-stop strategy from him. Now then, what strategies will be employed by his rivals in this race, we have yet to learn. Is Tokyo going round the spoon curve? There's Lamborghini closely following, and you can see in the background there, you can see Riot coming out of the pits as well into 4th position. So it could be quite a battle between he and Lamborghini right ahead. We can see them both going through the S's as we ride on board with Riot. Going left, turning back right again. He's looking very close. He's gotten very close. It seems that Lamborghini loses quite a bit of time through the S's, has gone wide into Dunlop, manages to come back and defend his line. It's a very close run thing, but it may come down to who's the first to miss a corner, for there have been some quite significant offs already. Now, they both manage it to get through Dana fine, but it's a very close thing. It's going to come down to... oh, it's a very risky and successful overtaking move. No, it's... Lamborghini manages to get it back on the switchback, but they're now neck and neck. They're side by side, and who comes into spoon curve first is anyone's guess. Lamborghini manages to sweep in front, though, and claim the position, but brakes quite hard, and he loses it. He loses the advantage to Riot, having had trouble braking into the spoon curve. Riot masterfully, beautifully manages to get right past him, and a beautiful bit of dueling there, but he has the better exit speed. He has the better exit speed and overtakes him. It's back again. Fantastic. It's and he goes a little bit wide there. It goes a bit wide, but who has the advantage coming into there? And Riot manages to overtake. But he also he brakes far too late, And it looks like he's decisively lost that particular duel, but it was Lamborghini's time to go into the pits. He's been on hard tyres for the start, but has managed to make only 7 laps with those, so he's probably for a 2-stopper as well. Right, now here at the front we have Fives followed by Tokyo. Tokyo is still quite far away. He's all the distance of the S's away from first position, and following not too distantly behind is Riot. Now, who's this in the pits? This is Delinquent and Kaladin. They've both pitted on their relative end of lap 7, whereas the leaders are on lap 8 now. And that's Lamborghini. He's come out of the pits now. It's quite a distance to the race leaders, but he certainly gave Riot a run for his money in the previous lap. That was Dunker coming in for his pit stop with his stint on hard tyres. He's probably going for more hard tyres. I think so far. Oh, bit of a squibbling move there from Delinquent on his first lap out of the pits. I think that so far Riot here is the only driver we know of to be running with medium tyres, and whether he goes for a 2-stop strategy or a 3-stop is well, who knows. Now he's caught up. He's caught up with Tokyo. He's going all over the back of him, trying to look for some opportunity to overtake. Now, how are their relative speeds through here? And as they come up to this turn, one of the toughest turns on the circuit, which is saying quite a lot. This is a very technical circuit. It's Riot who manages to get past him. Fantastic move there, very, very straightforward. He's had a little bit of practice dueling against Lamborghini, and this time doesn't brake far too late. Now that's Fives in the pits, enabling Riot to take the lead again. But Tokyo, is he going to have a look at overtaking? There's Fives getting refueled. Is he having a bit of a look? Doesn't quite manage it, no. Not quite got close enough there. Now, this is Olaf. He's coming in, again, with hard tyres. You can see them changing, and now he'll be refueling for a while. This is Delinquent, rushing through into the Casio triangle. Right, now then, that's Tokyo going through the S's and into Dunlop Curve now. And there's the race leader, Riot. A very, very convincing drive from him. A couple of mistakes under pressure, but no worse than what we've seen from the other drivers in the top 3. There's Fives, having pitted, fresh tyres, having a good chance to catch up, perhaps if there is some dueling from these two in front. Now we can see them going through the hairpin there. Not a whole lot in it, but not close enough for any slipstream advantage for Tokyo. Now we can see the lap times there, that Tokyo's lap times have been largely very consistent, around 2 minutes 13, 2 minutes 14, that kind of time. Riot's times have been very much faster at around the 2:09, 2:10 mark. So what we expect to see then is for Riot to continue to pull away. Now here's Olaf with, again, very consistent lap times, 2:14.5 it seems, and so he won't be in the top 3, I think, but if anyone makes any major mistakes, he'll certainly be there to try and catch up with them. Now here at the front again, coming round into the end of lap 9 in this 15 lap, sorry, I should say lap 8 of this 15 lap race, for there was of course a formation lap at the beginning. Here is the pit stop for Tokyo. He's going to have some fresh tyres now. Possibly we'll see some better lap times from him. His previous lap times hadn't really been anything to write home about. Here's Fives rushing past, overtaking the yes, Lamborghini as well. Both Vipers now in second and third, having overtaken their rival of Tokyo in the pits. So, there's Olaf. It looks like, will he also... No, I don't think he'll be able to overtake as well. I believe that's Tokyo who's just come out of the pits just now. Yes, indeed. There he is, coming into the S's now. There's Lamborghini, and there's Tokyo. It's not a huge difference between them. Both just starting to come out of the S's now. Now, round the hairpin, some distance ahead, it's Riot on his... it looks like he's pulling away quite consistently, and they're the two Dodge cars. They have quite similar lap times actually, both sort of 2:11, 2:12-ish. Whereas Tokyo at 2:12, 2:13, it doesn't look like we'll see him reclaiming his position. To be honest, I think he may well do well to simply fourth position. Now, here's Fives going through the spoon curve. You can see him; he'll be building up as much speed as possible through there. Now then, let's have a look at the overall positions. First place, there's Riot, who has stopped once and seems to be running a medium tyre strategy. Then Fives has stopped once, and Lamborghini who has pitted, Tokyo who has pitted, Olaf has, Delinquent has, Kaladin has, and I believe Dunker has as well. So they have all made one pit stop so far, but coming into the second half, yep, it's another pit stop. As I thought, Lamborghini does indeed have a two-stop strategy. He was one of the first to pit previously, even though he was running hard tyres. Here he is, he's just stopped now. Change of tyres, on they go, and it's refuelling. He's already got a fair bit of fuel. Now here's Olaf, overtaking Lamborghini while Lamborghini's in the pits. It'll probably be quite close. There he is, he's just come out of the pits. And it'll be a dive for the first corner. He's come across the white line and smacks Olaf right there. He had absolutely no right to do that whatsoever. He's caused a collision, and that'll be a stop-go penalty, unless I'm very much mistaken. Yes, he is going to have a stop-go penalty for that. That was completely inexcusable. Right, now, there's Riot in the lead still. Is set the fastest lap of the race on lap 9, which is rather incredible that he's managed to drive so consistently. Now, whether his strategy will pay off versus the strategy of Fives, who's I think could be running a one-stopper, we'll have to see. He stopped somewhere near the middle of the race and shows no signs of slowing down. There's Olaf, who's chasing after Lamborghini, who you'll recall is yet to serve a penalty. So we'll probably see Olaf running in fourth place for at least part of the remainder of the race. There's Delinquent. He's had quite a bash at some point there. One of his offs has chipped off quite a lot of paint. Now, who's coming in? It's Riot. He's coming in. He's nearly out of fuel there and the tyres. Now he is on the 10th out of 15th lap, so he's neatly split his race into thirds. So that'll be his last pit stop. And here, coming out in the lead, is Fives on a one-stop strategy. So it's all down to this last 5 laps of the race, with Riot coming out of the pit lane now, and he's got it all to play for. He knows exactly how much time he has to make up in this last 5 laps of the race. So here is Lamborghini coming in for his stop-go penalty. Now the rules are no fuel, no new tyres. Indeed, out he goes. and comes out, now where is he? He's just behind Olaf. He's just behind the car that he sort of shoved off the course a lap ago. So, here's Olaf coming into the S's, and there, now here we are with the race leader, Lamborghini's teammate, who could well win this race. It all comes down to the relative performance difference between the hard and medium tyres. Right, with fresh medium tyres, he could gain a lot of time on 5s very quickly, but whether he can overtake him is another question entirely. Now, here's Olaf. He's coming through Dana 1, Dana 2, followed very closely by Lamborghini, who's now, I dare say, learned his lesson and is going to make for a clean overtake this time, or I certainly hope so. Now, there's Delinquent also on Dana 1 and then Dana 2. Not an inconsiderable distance behind, probably hoping that someone's going to make a foul up somewhere near the end of the race. Now, here we are, with Riots catching up with 5s. Now, let's see what his first lap time after having pitted will be like. Third is Tokyo still, and he's quite some distance away. There's practically no chance that he'll see better than third position. Now, there is 2 minutes 11.8 from 5s in the Viper on hard tyres, and it's 2:06.4 from Riot, so there's clearly a huge difference there. If Riot can continue to gain 4 seconds per lap, then he stands a very, very good chance of overtaking 5s, but there could be quite some duel, for 5s is not going to go down without a fight. Right, now then, let's see, here we are with Olaf. Olaf's been overtaken by Lamborghini, it seems. Didn't quite catch that, but here we are, getting the slipstream. He'll be trying to overtake again. Has a look, manages to go past into the turn. Perhaps not quite the strongest possible line through there as he went in from the inside, but it seems that he's managing it quite well. Cuts off Lamborghini into the approach to the S's. There's Lamborghini, and we can see just how close it is. It's going to be a real to and fro between these. I believe Lamborghini is perhaps slightly more, I think he is a faster driver, but he does also seem to make more mistakes. It is a very difficult to handle car, the Dodge Viper, but here in the lead is his teammate, who's got it all to play for. He's going to try and minimise what Riot can gain on him in the next few laps. Now, we're on lap 13 at the moment, and there are laps 13, 14, 15, 16 to go. Now, it looks like, I believe Lamborghini tapped him a little bit there, but it didn't really do him any good. Coming up, we can ride on board with him now, and we can see that Olaf is managed to capitalise on that little mistake there at the hairpin. There's a yellow flag. Now, who's off? Somebody's off. It looks like the Jag. It's the Jag of... No, it isn't. I'm so sorry. It's Tokyo in the Honda. Went sliding off on the approach to Spoon Curve, not at Spoon Curve itself, which is quite interesting. He's driving off. He got back on track okay, but it seems to me that the wind is out of his sails to some degree. Now, here the top two, and it's very close. They're both in the first turn together, and coming into the S's is 5s, and now Riot. They're now both in the S's. There's Lamborghini behind, just going into the final curve, closely followed by Olaf. He seems that he's managed to overtake Olaf, and here we are again. It seems it will be a back and forth between those two, unless Lamborghini can somehow pull away. It seems that he's a little bit weaker through the S's than Olaf is, so we'll see how that turns out between them. So, pitting now is Delinquent. It seems that he's. It may be an emergency stop. It might be a stop that he didn't originally plan for. And we'll have to see if Kaladin, who's going through the final chicane now, manages to get out in front. No, certainly not. It's because, of course, Delinquent only had to put in a couple of laps of fuel. It seems actually that Kaladin is pitting as well. That is unexpected. It's only a short distance to go, and a pit stop at this time. Well, I presume that they're putting on soft tyres, because anything else I think would be a mistake. Right now, you can see how close it is. You can see them together in the same shot at times. We can see, and now we can see that Olaf has lost distance on Lamborghini somewhat. And there's Tokyo. It does honestly look like he's not got that much of a pace at the moment. I think he's just cruising around to try and maintain his 5th position. Now, here we are. We're lapping Dunker, who's been quite far back behind as a back marker for this race. He's done a sterling job simply pulling over on the main straights. Riots has gone off. Now, that's unexpected. Having put in a very, very consistent performance, he's lost an awful lot of time. He had the slipstream of 5s. He could have overtaken him in this or in the final lap. But it seems that he's lost an awful lot of time. He's going to overtake. He's going to have to lap Dunker again, who's unlapped himself from Riots. He's going to be furious. He's driving as if he's furious. He's managed to overtake Dunker, all right, who's pulled over very, very adeptly again. He's going to have to storm through the track, and his 5s, having got through both Daytona turns, and you can see in the background there's Riots, but I don't think that 5s now has all that much to worry about, whereas previously he would have had to really duke it out with Riots for a whole 2 laps. But it seems there's Dunker, who's just gone off. Anyway, here's 5s and here's Riots. Not much distance between them, but I believe that the medium tyre will have now lost most of its advantage compared to the hard tyre, which is more hard wearing, of course, and will be putting in more consistent lap times throughout, whereas the medium tyre puts out some blisteringly good times in its first few laps and then drops off rather quickly. Now then, here he is, here are both of them. It's going to be really tantalising because Riots can see that target right ahead of him, and he's gone wide. He is driving quite desperately. Now there's Lamborghini behind. He's keeping a little way ahead of Olaf, but not a huge amount in it. I think if Limbo makes a I was going to say if Limbo makes a mistake, but Olaf's gone off there on the spoon curve. It's not too serious though. He manages to get back on track, but I think he'll be hoping for Lamborghini to spin and make some kind of serious error in what will have to be the final lap, which we are on now. 15 laps, unless you count the formation lap, in which case 16 laps. And they're both in the S's together again, separated by only 1 corner. I really don't think the rider is going to be able to make it, but nevertheless, 5 cannot afford to slack off. He has to push every lap. Now then, there's Delinquent. He's in 6th position. Now, will he be able to catch up with Tokyo, who I think Tokyo, it may not be so much that he's lost morale as that he's lost he's low on fuel, and he's gone off. That's Tokyo. He'd gone off. That was a yellow flag warning that there was some kind of incident, and Tokyo's had a major incident, and Delinquent with 1 lap to go will be hungry to get him to get himself into 5th position. Now, that was Tokyo on the right side of the track trying to throw Delinquent off the scent. Now, here he is. He has a look. It's a big wiggle. It's maybe a little bit too much of a... Oh, it's Tokyo. Now, had Tokyo not gone off there, I believe he would have been first into the S's, for Delinquent's overtaking move was a little bit too violent, and he kind of wobbled a bit, losing velocity. Now here's Olaf. He's managed to catch up with Lamborghini, who presumably has had a little bit of a weak end to the previous lap. But I would be very surprised if he does manage to overtake. Now there's 5. Now they're at the end of the final lap, and it's 5's victory here at the Suzuka Grand Prix. He slows down a little bit for various accumulated penalties to wear off, but he has won. And there's Wyatt who could have made it, not quite, didn't quite make it. One fatal mistake, I think, cost him the race, quite possibly. Certainly cost him the chance for victory. Now, here behind, Delinquent has overtaken Tokyo, who's now running 6th. I think he's really running low on fuel. He did run out of fuel right at the end of the first race at Brands Hatch, losing a place as well. So this will be something he'll have to pay closer attention to in the future. Now there is Lamborghini, having taken 3rd, and 4th for Olaf. Very, very good drive from both of them. There now, that's Delinquent we can see from riding on board with, oh dear, Tokyo goes off again, runs very, very wide. It seems that it hasn't really been his day today. Started reasonably well off on the grid, looked like he'd be 3rd. It looked for a very long time like he'd be on the podium, but here he is finishing 6th. And now we're just waiting for Paladin to cross the line. He's quite a bit further back, as we can see here. Overall, it's been a very, very interesting race. 5's just drove very consistently. He was quite a way behind Riots, who had a very good strategy. But it was that one crucial mistake. Now, to his credit, Riots made an excellent recovery and really drove the hell out of that Toyota. But here we are. So, here are the results. Winning the race, 5 Signs Sport. Then it's Riots, Lamborghini, who made an excellent drive but made some crucial errors. Then Olaf, Delinquent, No One Sleeps in Toke. Then Kaladin, Dunker, and Richard and Chugi, who retired quite near the start of the race, unfortunately for them. For the championship, Riots and 5s, both with 36 points and a win each. Then Tokyo, Olaf, Delinquent, then Lamborghini, now tied for 7th, Ladinator and Kaladin. Then it's Double Apex, Chugi, Jers, Dunker, KRD Racing, and Valuted Runner with no points for him. Richard, Blue Ghost, and S18 Venom. Team standings. The Dodge Viper team with 56 points could well walk away with this one. The LOEG team, 45 points. Now, unless Chugi really gets his act together, so to speak, pretty much game over for them, but it seems that they have got a fairly secure 2nd place. The Honda team with 30 points, the Jag team with 25, and the Mazda team with 20 points. The Mitsubishi team of Fierce Motion with 19 points. They'll certainly be looking to grab 5th place from the Mazda team. And then the Mercedes team with only 12 points. I hope you've enjoyed this Suzuka race, and I hope to see you again for the next race. Bye bye.